Good afternoon. Welcome to November 5th, 2019 Glendale Housing Authority meeting being called to order at 3:07 p.m. May I please have the roll call?
Authority Member Devine.
Here.
Najarian. Here. Farazian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Karpetian.
Here.
Chair Agajanian.
Present. May I please have your report?
The agenda for the November 5th, 2019 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, October 31st, 2019 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
What's next, please?
4 would be approval of minutes of the regular Housing Authority meeting of October 29th, 2019.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing no objection, the minute stands approved as submitted. What's next, please?
5 would be oral communication. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the Housing Authority may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The matter may be referred to staff through the Executive Director for investigation and report.
Mr. Herbert Molano.
Good afternoon, Housing Authority Chair Agajanian, members of the Housing Authority, and staff. My name is Herbert Molano. I don't intend of making these presentations every week, probably only until December when you receive the information concerning the short-term housing ordinance. But until that time, I wanted to address the issues that are of concern to you, which is the possibility of losing moderate-income housing or low-income housing as a result of short-term rental. And in the process, I wanted to identify, or at least get myself educated, on what has transpired in the last few years with regard to affordable housing and moderate-income housing. And so I decided to look up the housing element. And it addresses clearly what the city should be doing with this report that is done every 8 years or revised every 8 years. It identifies the city's existing and projected housing needs and establishes goals and policies to guide city officials in daily decision-making in addressing these needs. Groups requiring the most urgent attention in the city are identified, such as the elderly, lower-income households, and homelessness. Now, as some of you know, I've been a consultant. I had a company that provided consultation to mid-sized corporate companies in manufacturing. And one of the goals that our company had was to be able to provide the computer systems to provide the data that corporate CEOs needed to identify for their primary objectives, for their strategic plans. And so I'm approaching it the same way, figuring what are the goals and objectives every year with regard to moderate income housing or lower income housing. And out of researching this information, I found the following: that there's a current project at 611 North Brand by the Omni Group. This project was originally planned and submitted as a 608 residential units. 608. That's at least 50% larger than all of the short-term rentals in Glendale that probably are in multifamily housing. But somehow along the way, someone decided, or they decided, to change those plans, and instead of building 608 multifamily units, they decided to build a hotel instead. And I was wondering how the city just gets to promote multifamily housing or moderate-income housing. One of the ways to do it is to ensure that they lower their costs. And they lower their costs, to my knowledge, by either building more units, which means that they need some type of variance, or by the city doing some type of exchange of its own property in order to induce it. But there's actually another way of doing it, and that's through lower construction costs. And I did some research on what is called modular multifamily housing, and they could be constructed by at least 20% less than normal construction is. And I looked at some of the buildings that were built recently with newer technology in the last couple of years, and it looks like there is an opportunity for the city to look into that possibility of creating multifamily affordable housing through those means. And perhaps your staff already is apprised of these things, but I figured that whenever you have the choice between building a hotel or getting over 600 additional units, that following the mandates or the goals of the housing element, that the energy would be put into that. Now, I'm not trying to be contentious in any way. I'm just simply trying to ask myself the question, if I were in your shoes, what would I ask the staff to investigate? What would be the goals each year with regard to how many units of moderate income housing there would be, how many for lower income housing, and whether or not the city has the plans in effect to execute those goals. So I thank you very much for your time. I thought that information would be useful for you.
Thank you. Oral communication is closed. What's next, please?
Authority member and staff comments.
Are there any authority member or staff comments? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We stand adjourned at 3:13 p.m. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the joint meeting of the Glendale City Council